Hey, this video is a little bit different. I'm going to show you exactly from A to Z how you can build a voice AI receptionist for your real estate investment company, or maybe you're an agency and you serve real estate investors or real estate agents, and you are looking for a tutorial on how you can build one of these for you or your clients. So the reason I'm showing you this today is because I actually have a real world application for my own business. I need to take my own medicine. I've been missing calls. I'll break that down here in a second. Now, today, everything we build is going to be built inside of a software called 𝐓𝐢𝐦𝐞𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐦𝐩𝐬. Most of you are probably familiar, but for those of you who aren't, 𝐓𝐢𝐦𝐿evel is an amazing all-in-one sales and marketing platform they have powerful AI tools, text messaging tools, marketing tools, email marketing tools, you name it. You can build websites, host websites, all that stuff. But today we're going to focus on their voice AI receptionist capability. They recently overhauled their entire voice AI receptionist capability, and it is on par with the industry leaders. On this video, I've talked a lot about retail AI and VAPI. Those are all pretty much irrelevant, not quite. 𝐓𝐢𝐦𝐿evel actually uses retail AI on the back end. But today, we're going to build everything inside of 𝐓𝐢𝐦𝐿evel. And if you want, I'll leave a link down below. If you're not already a 𝐓𝐢𝐿evel user, you can have a free 14-day free trial. You can follow along in this video from A to Z. This is going to be a longer video. Forewarning, I'm going to go in grave detail about everything that we're doing to build this. We're even going to test it at the end. So enough of that. There will be a link below. Now, if you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Justin, and I run a community called Automation Station, and I run this YouTube channel, and I run my business, but I'm also a full-time W-2 employee. I am active duty military. I'm addicted to the side hustle. I bring in money for my family. I appreciate it. I want to do more of it. And so I'm out here creating solutions like this and also teaching you in an effort to just better the community, solve problems for myself and solve problems for you. So hopefully you appreciate that. Enough of that. I'll leave a link to the community down below as well. However, you don't need the community for this. If you want to join, check it out. But if you don't, that's fine. You can follow this from A to Z, and I'm going to show you exactly how we do this. Now, let's break down this scenario really fast because I think it's important to note. You don't need to be an expert in real estate investing. You don't need to be an expert in real estate in general, but I do want to explain some things to you. So I have a real estate investment company where we do wholesale, fix and flip, buy and hold. But I recently sent out a bunch of mailers, meaning direct mail. I sent out the direct mail campaign, to a very curated list, and that direct mail campaign has a phone number in it, and that phone number belongs to my 𝐓𝐢𝐿evel system. I have a phone number in there that's specifically for mailers, so I can track who's calling, what marketing is being effective, right? I won't get into tracking numbers and all that stuff, but I missed calls last month, and I think it was like 60% of my calls. So whatever that math is, I don't want to do it publicly, but you see these little red arrows here. There was only 11 calls, and some of you guys might say, that's a low call volume. Why does it even matter? Over here on the right, there's some pretty big numbers. These are transactions from my bank account. These are incoming transactions, okay? And in full transparency, there are expenses in there, but I don't want to put all my business out there and show you my whole checking account. But trust me, we made more than what we sent out that month. But that's not important. What's important is that there are 4 transactions here. One of them is a pending deal. It's not quite a transaction. So 3 transactions plus a pending deal that are 5 figures and above. And so each one of these calls are very important. And as a matter of fact, the deal that we got under contract was actually a missed call we contacted them back, and they actually answered their phone, and it turned into a contract in which we project we're going to make at least $4,500, maybe more, hopefully. But every single one of these calls is worth a lot of money, these opportunities that we might be missing. Now, there was a few more missed calls, and we tried calling them back, and they didn't respond. And so who knows what else we missed out on. But I'll tell you what. I included a little screenshot of an email here. We have another batch of mailers. At the time of recording, it's November 4th. We have another batch of mailers that are in production to be sent out on November 12th. And so I'll be danged if we don't fix this problem before the next batch of mailers go out. Now, full transparency, I am not routing every single one of these calls to AI. I still like to be the one to answer the phone. These are very high value opportunities, but in the event I cannot answer the phone, I do want AI to pick it up. I don't want it to just go to some random voicemail and people just hang up. I at least want to have a fighting chance at qualifying and scheduling a cash offer call with that lead 24/7. So if I don't answer in about 20 seconds, I'm going to set this voice AI agent to pick up the call on my behalf. Now, why do I need that. I have a full-time job. As I mentioned, I'm active duty military. A lot of my time and energy is spent, especially Monday through Friday, at work, and I can't always get to the phone in time. I do have a limited budget. This isn't a huge operation. I only closed 3 deals this year, and that's okay with me. This is a side hustle, just trying to bring in some extra income, build wealth for me and my family. But I don't have a huge budget. I don't want to spend a ton of money on a call center every month or hire a virtual assistant. I don't have enough work for them. So in this case, a AI assistant is the perfect option for me. I also don't have any employees. I don't want to have any employees right now. To me, it's just additional overhead when I've already got enough going on. Eventually, maybe we'll bring on some employees and share the wealth. But right now, it is just a small operation. Let's get into the build here. So we're going to come over here and do some planning. I just want to show you the lay of the land. There's a few things that we're going to do. I really just wrote this down so I have a checklist to go by. And then maybe this helps you paint the picture of what we have to do. But first thing we're going to do inside of 𝐓𝐢𝐦𝐞𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐦𝐩𝐬, for those of you who are new to 𝐓𝐢HighLevel, don't worry, you're going to watch me. I'm going to click around my screen. You're going to be able to follow along, but there's some jargon here. Okay. There's some technical words here. Don't take what I'm saying, watch what I'm doing, and put those two together, and I'm sure you're smart enough to figure it out. But custom fields, we're going to build out some custom fields. This is information that we want to collect from the caller on the call. We're going to build out the voice agent prompt. These are the instructions for the voice agent to do what it needs to do so that it knows what information it needs to get. It knows how to react when somebody asks them a question. I'm going to configure settings for the voice agent. We're going to create an end of call workflow. This is the most overlooked part of the entire thing. A lot of people on YouTube are talking about how to build these agents, and the cool thing about the agents is that they do tend to wow people. So you have an agent that answers the phone or calls them, and people are just like really impressed by it because this is brand new technology. It's never existed before. It fools some people. It doesn't fool most people, but even though it doesn't fool people, it's just really impressive what voice AI can do. However, not a lot of people talk about what happens after the call. All that information that happened on the call, it's very important to capture that information, store that information, and take action on that information every time that call happens. And so the end of call workflow facilitates that. So we're going to go through and create that together. And then we're going to test and deploy it because I do need this live by November 12th, and today's November 4th. So we're going to get it live today. All right. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to hop into our sub account. I have a demo sub account here. Good thing is, if you're doing inbound calls like I am doing here, you actually don't need an approved phone number. I have a phone number here that I have in this demo account. It is not A2P10DLC approved. If that doesn't make any sense to you, don't worry about it. Just come in here, buy a phone number, and just go on. We're not doing outbound calls. We're not doing text messaging here. We're actually just taking the call. So first thing we need to do is come to custom fields. Let's see if I can make this a little bigger. And I'm going to come into folders. I like to create folders sometimes. So I will call this REI Voice AI, just so that we know where we are putting things. And let's go ahead and go in that folder. All right. So we have REI Voice AI, and we're going to create a field. So I'm going to create all of these fields as single line fields. I just find that the AI, sometimes there's limitations on what the AI can fill out, but you can never go wrong with a single line field. The only limitation there is to a single line field is if you want to evaluate this field, let's say it's like a number and you want to say, hey, if their asking price is over $10,000, then do this. It's hard to do that with a single line field. It's not impossible, but it's hard to do. However, we're not doing any of that here. We just want to collect the information and make sure it gets stored inside of our CRM. So forgive me as I look at my other screen over here as I reference my notes. So there's a few things we're going to ask on the call, and you'll see this in the prompt. We're going to ask for the property address, which is a standard field. We don't actually need to record that or create a custom field for that, because address is a standard field inside of 𝐓𝐢HighLevel. You'll see what I mean here in a second when I configure those settings. But we do want to determine if this person is the decision maker or the owner. So I'm going to go ahead and create a field called owner, decision maker. And then the next thing we're going to ask is if there's a real estate agent involved. So I'll just say real estate agent involvement. This is a qualifying question that we ask for all our direct-to-seller efforts. If they're already working with a real estate agent, we want to reach out to the real estate agent and not be dealing directly with the seller. They have an agreement. It is just the right thing to do. And sometimes it's just easier going to the real estate agent instead of directly to the seller because they don't understand things. So if they're already working with somebody, we'll go directly to them. But if they're not working with anybody, then we will work with them directly and save them some money on real estate commission. So property condition is another one we'll ask. So we'll come over here and create a field. Now, notice in here, I'm not saying like I see this a lot. What is the property condition? They name the entire field the question in which they're going to ask. I think that's a bad habit because what actually happens is that the name of the field is like contact dot what is the property condition. It can get really long, especially for long questions. So what I like to do is be really brief in the name of the custom field. And then if I ever use this question in a form or something, you can override what the form displays to fill in this field. But little technical, but it's a pet peeve of mine. So property condition, let's see what else we are going to, that should be it. That's all we're going to ask. Maybe we'll ask now we're not going to ask the asking price. We don't want to ask sensitive questions. The point of this voice AI conversation is to just not miss the opportunity. If they call, I miss it, the voice AI agent answers it. We just want them to answer a few questions. I really don't care what it is they say on there, but the fact that they went through and talked to this AI and then booked a call, or maybe they didn't book a call, but they told us they didn't want to book a call, that's just intent for me. I like that. I don't necessarily need the bot to get into negotiations with them. I want to reserve that for a human, me. All right, cool. So we have these 3 plus 1, which is the property address, which is a generic field. So I think we're good to go. So we have owner, decision maker, occupancy status. That's a good one. Why didn't I do that? Oh, yeah, I missed that on my notes. So let's go ahead and create occupancy status. So let's create a single line. Occupancy status. So we're going to determine if the property is occupied or vacant. Cool. Property condition. Oh, remove from list. We'll do that as well. Remove. So some people may call and ask to be removed from the list. We want to automate that. We don't want to spend time on that. We do want to remove them from the list as soon as possible because every time we send them mail, it costs us money. So if they want to be removed from the list, we're definitely going to remove them, or we're not going to spend more money on that. Cool. All right. So now let's get into the prompt. We are good to go on the custom fields. So for the prompt, what I'm going to do is I'm using a prompt template that I have inside, shameless plug, inside of my voice AI course. So if you come into the classroom, I have a voice AI course, inbound and outbound, and I have this prompt template that I use here. I've deployed it many times, and over 783 people, I think up to this point, have purchased the course and have taken the course and have started and used that exact same prompt for different businesses in every different industry. So what I do is I start with that prompt, I feed it into ｃhatGPT, and I say, hey, can we modify this? Don't stray away from it. Can we modify this for real estate investing? And here are some of the questions I want to ask. It does a good job at putting it together and then gives me the prompt. Now that's the prompt we're going to use. And then we're going to use 𝐓𝐻ighLevel's new prompt evaluator, which is pretty sweet, and see if it passes the sniff test. So we're going to do that together. So let's come into AI agents. We're going to click on voice AI agent list, and we are going to create an agent. We're not going to browse the marketplace here. We're going to create a custom agent from scratch. And I'm going to name this agent Aria. Business name is going to be ABC Real Estate for now. Actually, you know what? No, I'm going to actually build this for myself, and that's going to be built for Build Augusta. As far as voices go, I really like this voice right here. I don't know if you guys will be able to hear it.
The beginning of knowledge is the discovery of something we do not.
I hope you can hear it. I'm actually in Georgia. This lady sounds like she's from New York, but I just think that she sounds good. It sounds like somebody I'd hire. So I don't know why. I like that voice. Zuri, highly recommended. Okay, so for the first initial message here, I have it here in my notes. All right, so here's the initial message here. I'm going to remove these quotes. I'm going to... Yeah, this is fine. Hi there. This is Aria with Build Augusta. I'm an automated assistant here to help you get started on your cash offer. How can I help you today? So maybe we can modify this, and this agent's not going to be perfect. So as I listen to calls as they occur, I will modify this and adjust. But a few things here. I want to keep this brief. I also want to be upfront. I'm not here trying to fool people that I'm using AI. I want to be upfront, and hopefully they'd appreciate that. And if they want to get that cash offer, then they'll go through the process and book a call. I'm going to copy this because I just need to make a slight tweak to my prompt. And I know you can't see the prompt here. I'm going to paste it here, I promise. And here we go. I'm going to go ahead and click next. And then what we're going to do, as soon as you click next, it has this simple mode. If you're creating a new agent for the first time, we're going to switch to advanced mode so that we can modify this entire prompt ourselves. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this whole thing. We don't need that. We're creating a better prompt than 𝐓𝐢𝐻𝐿evel. Just kidding. It's just going to be different. So in this prompt, check this out. So I'm going to scroll down here slowly. For those of you in the community, you're going to get this. You're going to be able to import this snapshot for free. Okay. It's just going to be imported. But for those of you who are watching along, maybe a first-time user, I'm just going to scroll down this just so you could see. You review it. So the basic structure is like guardrails, a little bit of an intro, the role, guardrails, do's and don'ts, some business information, and then the script flow. Hey, what are you supposed to do? Determine the reason for calling. What happens if they're calling for this reason? What happens if they're calling for that reason? Here's the qualifying questions. And then here's the instructions to schedule a cash offer call. And here are the closing instructions. So pretty simple. If you want to pause it and check it out, create your own, screenshot it, put it in a 챗GPT, whatever you want to do, it's right here for you. Now, next thing we're going to do is I'm not going to configure any of this right now. I'm actually going to just click next. And then for the number, I'm not going to configure a number, but I am going to enable this as a backup agent because I mentioned this is backup agent. Now, full transparency, this agent is being built in a demo account. I'm going to have to transfer it to another account here shortly. So I'm not too concerned with the minor details, but I do want to take the time and explain them to you here in a second. So now I'm going to go into the agent list and Aria should be here. This is the one that we just created here on November 4th at 12:43 p.m. So we're going to click on this and then we're going to come back into, actually, we're going to come into advanced settings. There are a few things I like to change here. If I go into agent behavior, the response speed is set to fast. I don't like that. Sometimes it cuts people off. So I'm going to go ahead and set it to normal. You can experiment with this. You can also experiment with the interrupt sensitivity, but fast is the default. I just don't really like fast. I don't change anything else other than that. So I go ahead and save it. And then I go to the agent goals and I want to use this evaluator. Let's see what 𝐓𝐢𝐻𝐿evel thinks about our prompt. Okay, so let's see. Missing action references. The prompt does not reference or align with any available agent actions or tools. That's okay. We haven't created them any at all yet. And then no action triggers defined. There are no agent action tools trigger prompts defined. Yeah, that's fine. That's perfectly fine because we didn't define any of these just yet. So we're going to go ahead and define it. We'll come back here and then look at the evaluation here in a second. First thing we need to do is we're going to create what happens on the call. What are some things that need to happen during the call? What are some things that need to happen after the call? And we're primarily going to focus on appointment booking and then fields that need to be stored. So let's go ahead and do that. So first thing we want to do is we want to add appointment booking capability. So I'm going to select this seller client calendar. This is a calendar that I have inside of my 𝐓𝐢𝐻𝐿evel. If you don't have any calendars configured, go to the calendar section inside the settings, create a calendar so that this agent can book on. So we'll go ahead and click save. I'll leave everything default there. And then after the call, so that has to happen during the call. If there's call transfers you want to happen, for example, during the call, we can say, hey, call transfer. We'll name this call transfer, and then we'll transfer it to a fictional phone number. And then we'll say, when should this happen? So when should this be triggered? If the user, you could say caller, user, whatever you want. If the user explicitly requests to be transferred to a human or they are very upset. Now, whenever prompting, this is a sub prompt of our entire instruction. Whenever prompting AI, I find that it's better to just be direct. Always just be direct, use exclamation points, capitalized words if you want to emphasize something, and it works pretty good. What to say before transferring the call? Please wait while we transfer the call. Cool. And then, yeah, I want to hear a whisper message. So whenever the call comes to me, I want to hear a whisper message with the call summary. When I answer the phone, I just want it to warm transfer. Give me some information about that call before I just hop into a firestorm. Okay, cool. So we have call transfer and appointment booking actions. Those are the only two things that I really need to happen during the call. Okay, we're going to keep this agent simple. But after the call, I do want some things to happen. And primarily, I want to store information. Okay, so I want to update a contact field. And the first thing we're going to do is update the property address. Okay, I told you property address was a standard field. So you see here street address, and I'll just say what to update in the field, the user's property, the property address the user would like an offer on. Okay, should I even say that? I should probably say the property address the user is calling about. Okay, we could probably improve this. If we have issues with it, I'll come back. I will give it some examples like 123 Main Street. Maybe I'll say 456 Main Street, Augusta, Georgia. Give it permission to fill it out however it wants. I'm not going to override an existing field. So if we already had the address associated with phone number, we don't want the voice AI to overwrite that field. So I'm going to leave that empty now. And then the next thing we want to do is update contact fields again. And the next thing, let's see, we asked for property address. What do we have next? Owner, decision maker. Cool. Owner or decision maker. Owner, decision maker. Now, if you're searching for your fields and they're not popping up here, it's probably because it's a special field. That's why I say single line text is the best bet here. So what do we update in this field? Let's see, the status of ownership, or if the user is a primary decision maker for this property. All right, and we will say, yes, this is the owner, just as an example. No, this is the tenant. And yes, but there are other decision makers. Just examples for the AI to know what to put in this field. All right, next thing we need to ask for is occupancy status. And I am saying ask for, that's actually incorrect. So these are not objectives. The objectives are defined inside of the prompt, what we copied and pasted and what I reviewed with you. But if any of this information is presented in the call transcript after the call, this information will get stored inside of these fields for that contact. So don't confuse these for objectives. They are not. But if this information is present in the transcript, it'll get stored. All right, pretty easy. So let's say occupancy status. Occupancy status. This if the property is vacant or occupied. Okay, and we'll just put two examples here. Cool. Next thing we're going to do is look for agent involvement. So we will say agent involvement. If the user is already, I shouldn't say determined, that's how I write objectives, but if the user is already working with a real estate agent. Here we'll say real estate agent is involved. And real estate agent is not involved. Cool. I'm doing this painfully slow and repetitive just so you see it. I think it's probably valuable that you see instead of me just skipping through this or creating it ahead of time and then just showing you what buttons were clicked. This way you see exactly what settings so that you can follow along. Next thing we're going to do is look for property condition. So property condition. All right. And I think in the prompt, we actually tell it to rate the property condition in 1 to a 10, 1 being the worst. So I'm going to continue it on that. Condition of the property in a range from 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being turnkey. Cool. So we'll say 1, 5, 10. Cool. All right. I think there's one more. Yeah, remove from list. Okay, remove from list is going to be an interesting one because I call this an intent field, and I talk about it in the course, but intent-based detection or intent-based framework, determining the intent of a call. So voice calls can go in a million different directions. Humans are incredibly dynamic. We think on our feet, we read body language, we speak back, we make noises, we shrug, we do all these things, and literally a conversation can go in a million different directions, and it's impossible to account for every single scenario in a call. But if we can put these intents in little buckets, hey, this person they're requesting an offer, but they booked an appointment, they want to be removed from the list, they're calling to complain, they're calling to inquire. These are buckets, these are intents. And so What I'm going to do here is I'm going to create some intent fields, and I'm actually going to have to come back and add some more custom fields. So what I'm going to do is save this here because I want to create all the intent so we can fly through things. So if I come over here to fields, I'm going to find my real estate. There it is. And we already have the intent removed from list. So I'm going to actually add the word intent here just so that we don't get confused. I want to separate the intent fields. So if I come here, single line, intent, cash offer, appointment booked. There's a million different ways you can do this. This is just my way and it works. There's other ways you can do this and this works as well. Intent, cash offer, no appointment. Let's see if they call to complain. You'll see how we use these here in a second. And then we will just say intent general inquiry. If somebody just called and asked about, hey, where are you guys located? Are you local? What time are you guys open till? What's your website? That kind of stuff, general inquiry. So intent, sweet. All right, let's go back to building our agent. So sorry for the detour, but I'm human. So we'll come back here and we have everything we created that's saved, good to go. So now let's go ahead and update contact fields. And here's how we're going to use these intent fields. So first one we're going to do is remove from list. I'm going to stay consistent here. Okay. Intent remove from list. I'm going to say set to true only if the user requested to be removed from our marketing list. Okay. And we are going to set that to true. So I just want to say, hey, set this to true, set this field to true if the user requests to be removed. Save. And now if they call and they say, hey, I want to be removed from marketing, then that field should just be set to true. And we're going to evaluate that in our end of call workflow. So next thing we want to do is come into here. Let's the other intent. So we have, okay, intent. We're limited here in characters. So I'm going to abbreviate a little bit. So user called for a cash offer and they booked a cash offer call. Set to true if the user, and I'm going to capitalize and because we have one that's pretty similar, so that can get hairy. All right, save. Next one is cash offer. No appointment. User called a cash offer, but did not book an appointment. Set to true if the user called for a cash offer but did not book an appointment. Cool. If these are not true, they should just be empty. That's the intended behavior here. All right, I think we have two more complaints. All right. Set to true if the user called to explicitly complain. That's probably not the right grammar, but you get it. And then the last one is a general inquiry. To true if the user called to inquire about general business information. Sweet. All right. So that should wrap up everything that we have settings wise. Let me make sure. Yeah, that should support it. We might have to come back and do a few more configurations. I'm curious to see what the evaluator thinks now. Let's see what the evaluator thinks. I know we don't have any workflow triggers and stuff, but that's okay. We're not triggering any workflows till after. I'll show you that here in a second. Let's see what it thinks about our prompt. Get available slots trigger. The action get available slots when the user wants to book an appointment. And then custom variable usage. The prompt does not have any custom variables. Okay, that's fine. We don't need any custom variables. And then book appointment slot trigger. The action book appointment slot has trigger prompt when user confirms the slot. Needs to collect their email to improve clarity once the caller confirms. Okay. I'm going to ignore these for right now because I think it'll still work. It wants me to describe these specific triggers. So in the back end, they don't really show you this, but whenever we add an appointment action, it adds two triggers, so two actions: get available slots and then also book appointments. So I'm going to try to ignore that right now and see if the voice agent operates as expected, even without the description. If it starts to give us some issues, we can come in here and create a section for triggers or tool descriptions and then give it some criteria when to trigger this, okay? All right, so sweet. We're going to go ahead and save that. And then the next thing I want to do is create a test call. So let's go ahead and test this. Let's minimize that and start a web call.
Hi there, this is Aria with Build Augusta. I'm an automated assistant here to help get you started on your cash offer. How can I help you?
Yeah, so I got a mailer in the mail and you guys said you want to make an offer on my property. So what you got?
Got it. Thanks for letting me know. I can help get things started for you. I'll just need to ask a few quick questions about your property so our team can review it and prepare a cash offer. First, can you share the address of the property you're considering selling?
Yeah, 4545 Turnover Street.
Thanks. So that's 4545 Turnover Street, right?
That's right.
Perfect. Are you the owner of the property or is anyone else involved in the decision to sell?
Me and my wife own it.
Got it. Thanks for sharing. And is the property currently occupied, vacant, or rented out?
Yeah, it's occupied by a tenant, but their lease ends this month.
Thanks for letting me know. And just to check, are you currently working with a real estate agent for this property?
No, I got your mailer, so you said you could save us real estate agent fees, so I want to go with you guys.
That makes sense. And you're absolutely right. Since we buy directly, there are no agent fees or closing costs to worry about. Now, if you had to rate the property's condition from 1 to 10, 1 being not livable and 10 being perfect, move-in ready, where would you say it stands?
It needs work. We got a tenant in there right now, so it's definitely livable. I'd say we haven't made any updates in maybe 10 years, so I don't know. I don't know. We haven't made updates in 10 years, so how about you choose?
Got it. Sounds like it's livable, but could use some updates. I'll note that down as needing some work. Thanks for sharing that. The next step would be a quick cash offer call with our founder, Justin Melendez. He'll review your property details and give you an idea of what we could offer. Would you like me to help get that scheduled?
Yeah, I'd like to talk to him.
Sure thing. Let me check what's available for you. One moment. Here are some available times for a call with Justin. Today, November 4th at 1:30 p.m., 2:30 p.m., or 3 p.m. Tomorrow, November 5th at 8
I'll
a.m., 10
take
a.m., or 12 p.m.
today at 3 p.m.
Great choice. Before I book that, I see we don't have your email on file. Could you please provide it so we can send you the appointment confirmation?
Yeah, it is support@example.com.
Thanks. Just to confirm, that's SUPPORT@EXAMPLE.com, correct?
That's correct.
You're all set. Your appointment with Justin is confirmed for today, November 4th at 3 p.m. You'll receive a confirmation email.
All right, cool. So that worked and it wasn't perfect. I actually don't like how slow it is to respond. So maybe I'll change that response time back to fast. Maybe they did that for a reason because it was just a little slow. It didn't interrupt me, which was nice, but it was a little bit slow to respond. So I'll go ahead and make those changes here in a second. But let's go ahead and see what we have here. We have the transcript. We have no recording here. Okay. And then we have the summary. So super cool. I think that would work. Now I'm going to do something. So if I come in here to phone and availability, I'm sorry, I think where is it? It's in the agent goals. Yeah, we scroll down here. I'm going to trigger, we need to create the workflow first. So let's go ahead and create our end of call workflow. So I'm going to create a folder called REI Voice AI. And then we're going to create a end of call workflow. So we're going to start from scratch. We'll call this tool REI Voice AI EOC. Okay, end of call. We're not going to have a trigger here because we're actually going to just check that box that says trigger a workflow upon call completion. And then a few things we want to do. So I'm going to tag this, add contact tag, voice AI. I just like to have that just so I know that it talked to our voice AI assistant. So we're going to add that tag and save. And then the next thing we're going to do is start to evaluate those intents so that we can provide the appropriate notification to the team. And so the way this would look, as a matter of fact, let's use the advanced builder. So I'm going to go down here. Now we're going to keep it here. We're not going to get cute. But if you guys didn't know, 𝐓𝐢𝐿evel now has this advanced builder, but that has to be enabled. So I'm going to keep it here just like this. So what we want to do is start to evaluate some of those intent fields. So I'm going to create an if-else statement, and I'm going to call this intent. And then the first thing we're going to do is cash offer appointment booked. We're just going to go down the line and we're going to look at the intent fields. So search for intent, cash offer appointment booked contains true. And then we're going to add a branch. We're going to call this cash offer no appointment. Should become clear why we're using these intent fields now. Contact details. Intent contains true. Only one of these should be true. Duplicate branch. So we're going to call this, what was the other one we had? So complain, I believe we have remove from list. There you go. And then we'll say intent, remove from list, contains true. Duplicate this. Complaint, intent complaint contains true, and then general inquiry is the last one. The reason I'm not doing is, because this is definitive, is can be case sensitive, but contains should just be pretty loose. If it says true in the intent field, if the AI messed up, but it set it to true somehow, or true was in the sentence that it set, then it's going to go down that route. So once we click save, we're going to have these different branches. And for the sake of the demonstration, I'm just going to add tags, different tags for every single branch. But this is intended for you to build out specific actions that happen if these intents occur. So you can imagine it may be different actions that may happen when somebody called for a cash offer and booked an appointment versus somebody calling to be removed from the list. If somebody calls to be removed from the list, maybe you fire a webhook, maybe you fill out a field, maybe you notify a team member, maybe you update a Google Sheets, whatever that is, you can build it out in these individual lanes just like this. That's why intent-based assessment or intent-based framework is important here, especially when dealing with voice conversation. So all I'm going to do here is add a contact tag, and here we'll just say voice AI appointment booked. And save that. And normally I'd like to name these a little bit more descript, but I'm going to just come in here and copy pretty quick. So this would be voice AI qualified. Don't read into the naming convention here. I'm just being brief here. Voice AI remove from list. Voice AI complaint. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't have to keep clicking copy. I learned something new today. Voice AI general inquiry. And then the last one is like a non-catch-all. We could say like voice AI intent undetected. And then we can do certain things there just to have that as a fallback, just in case those intent fields fail us. We don't want to lose the opportunity for the lead. So just when that happens, this stuff will go on. I'm going to go ahead and publish this. And then let's go back to our voice AI agent. Go to the agent list, click in ARIA, go to agent goals, and then let's scroll down to the bottom and trigger workflow when the call is complete. And it's going to be this tool, REI Voice AI EOC, and then we're going to click save. Cool. Next thing I'm going to do is go into the advanced settings and change the speed. I'm going to go to moderate. I don't want to go straight to fast. And that should be good to go. So we noticed that even though the evaluator came back and told us we should be more descriptive about the triggers, it still worked. It got open slots. It booked an appointment. There's probably a few tweaks that I'll make here and there, but overall, I think this meets the intent. It doesn't need to be perfect straight out the gate. It doesn't need to be complicated. I just need it to be my backup in this business. It needs to be my receptionist, my partner in this business in order for me to avoid missing opportunities. And the same can be done for you or somebody in your agency or some of your clients. Now, hopefully you found this helpful. If it was, I recommend that you continue to watch. I have another video that I'll link here showing how I built this exact agent or a similar agent for a home service company. And so if you think that's helpful, I appreciate it. Comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.